Long before kingdoms, empires, or written history, conflict was a part of human survival. Early humans fought to protect rivers, food, and shelters. Small tribes clashed with stone axes and wooden spears. There were no generals, no strategies, just instinct. These early battles were chaotic but changed human behavior forever. People learned to form groups, build defenses, and plan attacks. War, once a reaction, became a strategy. This chapter explains how violence slowly evolved into organized conflict, planting the seeds for the massive wars that would come thousands of years later. When civilizations like Egypt, Sumer, and the Indus Valley rose, wars became larger and more dangerous. For the first time, armies were formed, groups of trained fighters serving a ruler. Kings fought not only for survival, but for territory, resources, and glory. Chariots rushed across deserts. Bronze swords clashed under the burning sun. Cities built massive walls to defend themselves. War was now a symbol of a kingdom's strength. This chapter explores how early rulers like Ramses II, Hammurabi, and ancient Chinese emperors warred to shape their lands and dominate there. Rivals, some warriors became legend symbols of courage and discipline. The Spartans. Raised from childhood to fight without fear, the samurai. Guided by honor and deadly precision, the Roman legions. Masters of formation and discipline. And the Vikings. Fierce raiders who conquered seas and rivers. Each warrior culture developed unique tactics that changed the battlefield. Their stories show how skill, courage, and training shaped entire civilizations. This chapter brings their battles to life, revealing why their names are still remembered across history. A few extraordinary leaders built empires so massive that their maps still amaze us today. Alexander the Great. Who conquered the world before turning 33? Genghis Khan, whose armies controlled more land than any empire in history. Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius who rewrote European politics. Their desire for expansion changed borders, cultures, and the world's balance of power. But their stories also show the cost. Millions fought. Millions died. And entire nations rose or collapsed. This chapter goes deep into how these conquerors thought, planned, and fought battles that changed the direction of human history. Then came an invention that turned swords into museum pieces, gunpowder. With it came rifles, cannons, and artillery. Castles that once stood strong for centuries were shattered in minutes. Armies had to rethink everything: formations, strategies, and defense. This era saw the rise of the Ottoman Empire, European kingdoms, and Asian dynasties using gunpowder weapons to dominate their enemies. Naval warfare transformed. Two massive cannon ships ruled the oceans. This chapter explores how gunpowder made war faster, louder, and far more destructive than anything humanity had ever seen. The world at war, 1914 to 1945, the 20th century witnessed humanity's darkest chapter. World War I introduced tanks, machine guns, and poison gas. Millions died in muddy trenches stretching across Europe. Empires collapsed. Borders were redrawn, but peace did not last. World War II erupted with even greater brutality: air raids, submarine warfare, massive armies, and unimaginable destruction. Nations fought across every ocean and continent. This chapter not only explains how these wars began, but also how they shaped the modern world. From the rise of global superpowers to the birth of the United Nations. After 1945, the world entered a new kind of conflict. The USA and USSR became superpowers, each armed with nuclear weapons capable of destroying the world in minutes. They never fought directly, but the tension was everywhere: in space, in technology, in politics, and in secret spy missions. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world seconds away from nuclear destruction. This chapter explores how two giants fought for influence, shaped global alliances, used intelligence instead of battle-stoke control, the future of the entire planet. from tribal fights to global conflicts. Every war tells a story of human strength and human weakness, a story of ambition, fear, bravery, and loss. War created empires, but also destroyed millions of lives. History teaches us that war repeats when forgotten. This chapter concludes the journey by reflecting on how humanity can learn, grow, and avoid repeating the worst mistakes of our past. The final message: war shapes nations, but peace shapes humanity.